It's as high as it gets.
Welcome, everyone. I'm Andy Alexander. I am the board chair of Foothills Forum. Thank you for coming. I have a very easy task tonight, which is simply to welcome you. And first of all, I'll explain what Foothills Forum is. We are a nonprofit journalism organization. We are supported by people like you in the community, and we provide journalism to the Rappahannock News, which if you haven't read in the paper, was recently named the best weekly of its size in Virginia for the 5th consecutive year. And we help with that, but the guy who really pulls it together is Dennis Brock, who is the editor and does a great job. So why are we here? So this contest began a number of years ago, and the original idea was that we would have an essay contest. We are all about journalism, and journalism takes many different forms. So in the business, we talk about hard news. Hard news might be there's a crash of a car crash, and that's hard news, or covering the budget debate. That can be hard and boring at times. But it's also soft news, and soft news can be everything from feature stories about people in the community that are ordinary folks who do extraordinary things, or it can be a class trip to New York, or a school play, or it can be ducks going down the mighty Thornton River. That is soft news, but it's all under one umbrella. Journalism is storytelling, and that is why we wanted to have this contest. We believe that it's important for young people to understand the importance of storytelling that is factual, that is fair, that is well-researched and well-expressed. So that's what we're doing tonight. We are rewarding the people who have contributed their time to have entries and are winners. And I'm happy to say that this year, through the generosity of our board members, we will give out tonight $2,550 in prizes, all from the generosity. It takes a village to do this, and this village is led by Heather Wick. There's Heather back there. Thank you. Surprisingly complex pulling this off. And you will hear more about that from Emily Oates, who is the executive director of Foothills Forum. My work is done, and now it's to Emily to explain how the whole thing works.
We're so happy to have you all here tonight. Thank you for coming, and thank you for participating in this contest. This year, we had just a single prompt. That's a little different from previous years. And it was to write about an experience from your own life or from somebody that you know that involves honesty, kindness, or generosity. And in an effort to pattern the contest after the work that journalists do, entries could be submitted as a written article, in video or photography, or storytelling through a series of 6 or so simple drawings. Website, rapstories.com, thanks to Ireland Hayes, she put that together, provided guidelines, an entry form, editing assistance, and judging criteria. And all entries were submitted through the website. So the results were, we had 88 total entries, 76 of those were written, and we had 12 graphic stories. So we need to work on the photography and videography for next year. We're excited about doing that. We had roughly 50-50 participation between Wakefield and the Rappahannock Public Schools. So that's pretty good, but we want to encourage more participation in the coming year. So we had a lot of really great creative entries this year, and we hope that those of you who can will be able to participate again next year. We are planning to involve students in 2 to 3 workshops leading up to the contest, and possibly maybe more in-class presentations working with the schools to help students understand more specifically how to look for real-life stories, like journalists do, different methods of telling those stories, and enjoy the process of making their stories interesting and fun. And we hope that all of you will participate. I would like to turn the time over now to our wonderful storytelling guru, Heather Wick, and she has done a fabulous job organizing the contest, and I want to just recognize her. With these flowers. She has just done, I mean, that's just a very tiny thing to give to all the wonderful work that she's done for this whole contest, and we just really appreciate it.
Oh,
and she will explain the judging process next.
Oh, thank you so much. I want everyone to be over the podium. Oh, that's so generous. Talk about an act of kindness and generosity.
There you go.
So it's contagious. What a pleasure to be here this evening, and thank you all for coming. I know you're very excited to get to the awards presentation part of this, so I will just briefly give you a sense of the judging process, so you'll know what we were looking for as we read the 88 entries from around the county. There were 12 judges, 4 judges for each grade category, so 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th. And we winnowed through the stories and scored them on a scale from 9 to 1 according to 7 criteria. And those criteria were adherence to the prompt and guidelines. We had some parameters on the website that they needed to follow in terms of length or presentation. And so that was the easy category. It's really impressive that those prize winners sitting here tonight were paying attention to every one of these criteria. A second criteria was character development. Obviously, having a character with description and dialogue really helps others who are connect with that story through that character, whether it's the writer themselves or other people that they know. So character development is important to a good story. Setting and atmosphere was another criteria, which also, same thing, trying to put the reader or observer in the place where the story is being told. Creativity and originality is really helpful in that it catches the attention of someone who is connecting with that story. Engagement was probably the most difficult to describe category, and quite subjective because some people are engaged with the story more than others, but nevertheless, it's the quality that gets people really caring about that story and how it's going to go for the characters involved and how it's going to end. So that was a very important category. And then basic mechanics, so spelling, grammar, punctuation, paragraphing, those kinds of things also needed to be paid attention to because it affects the flow of the story, which also makes it appealing to the reader if it flows well. So I think that was the 7th criteria was clarity and cohesion. So again, that's sort of self-explanatory. But we took those criteria and went through the stories and rated them. And finally, when we each come up with, for our particular grade assignment, come up with our 5 highest scores, then we conferred with the others in our group to reach a consensus on who were the 5 prize winners. So it was a pretty long, involved process. I want to thank the 12 judges, including Emily and myself, who were involved with the process and gave their time and energy and ideas. Scott, Mary Sherman, and I'll never forget you. I'll never forget you. And Cindy Griffin. All of them will be making each of them will be making presentations to the grade category, to a single grade category tonight. So they were also 3 of the judges. Not everyone was able to make it tonight, unfortunately, but we owe a great debt of gratitude to the judges. And I'm happy to say that they all had fun and they want to do it again next year. So, that's the best part. So I think without further ado, I will just explain how we're going about this. I will call up the 7th and 8th grade prize winners to come up on the stage, and if you will come back through this back door, unless that door is more convenient for you, we're not to use these stairs that are blocked by the brass balls or whatever. Anyway, so the other stairs are best. So I will call up your name, come up, and Cindy Griffin is going to present the award certificates and checks to the prize winners in the 7th and 8th grade category. So without further ado, Jenna Lynn. Ren Rhodes. Oh, it doesn't appear that she is. I thought she was coming. Adele Jinho. Rose Miller, is little Lonnie here, and Sydney Coleman. Okay. What? Maybe we should we have them sit or no? Yes. And for our prize winners who were not able to make it tonight, we will be sure to get their award certificates and checks to them as soon as possible.
Thank you, Heather. Can you hear me all right? Yeah, is that good? All right, well, come forward a little bit. Speaking for my fellow judges, we faced a not so easy task, as Heather explained, of selecting the winners from a variety of entries. Each one a testament to the hard work and dedication of our 7th and 8th grade students. It's with great pleasure that we recognize the top 5 outstanding stories. We chose 2 honorable mention winners. The first selection is titled My Mom, written by Leilani. Is Leilani here? Is she? All right, Leilani Rose Miller of Rappahannock County School. Leilani's, hold on, I'm gonna read a little bit. Leilani's story recognized the value of her mom's kindness despite challenging circumstances in their home, and how she returned kindness to her mom by helping with meals and her siblings. Here's a little excerpt from her story. She was talking about her mom. She has decided to start making a garden with us. My 2 sisters help plant and water the flowers. She lets us keep sunflower seeds we get at the library to grow. We have a lot of fun when she comes up with things like that. The next honorable mention winner is a story based on the Golden Rule. Its author is Seminelli. Tell me your nickname. Simi Coleman of Wakefield Country School. And the setting for her story is Argentina. Yes. So I want to read, she describes it very vividly. This is from her story. It was a nice sunny day in Argentina. The trees just starting to bloom in vibrant explosions of color and scent. Petals floating to the worn sidewalk. Stray dogs strutted along as if they were humans, heads held high in pride. Quiet chatter floated through the air from open-air bars and thrift shops placed carefully on the road. That's when I saw a large family huddled together next to a dumpster. And it continues from there. Simi, congratulations. You're very welcome. So those are our two honorable mentions, and the next is the third place winner, which is Adele Janho. Hi, Adele. Hi. You wrote a unique poem titled Raised in Rappahannock. Adele's inspiration came from realizing how much she has been blessed growing up in a small community filled with love, kindness, and generosity. This is the beginning. I'm going to read the beginning and the end. Raised by Rappahannock. After 13 years of living here, I can say this county is a wonderful place to be. Wide open, flourishing fields, mountains dotted with grazing cows, summer days, ponds, jumping along hay bales and catching fireflies. But the views aren't all it has to offer. There's kindness, honesty, and love here. A small community that shares compassion. It's such a generous place to be. Sperryville, Washington, Woodville, Little Washington, Flint Hill, Chester Gap, Amosville, and Castleton. I was raised by a Rappahannock. Our second place winner, Ren Morale Rhodes. No, okay. Her story, very interesting, is a chronology of her first year of life to her 13th year, her current year. Let me read a little bit of her story. It's called Little Too Big. Mother, it starts like this. Mother, you loved me and cared for me before I was born. Father, you made sure I was safe and never in harm. Year one, it felt like a breeze. I don't remember much, but I know you were there. My first Christmas, first foods, first words, first steps, the first milestones in life, and maybe my most important, along the way, you were there, never too far astray. Year 13 ends with, I'll be forever indebted to you for your love and kindness. From the bottom of my soul, thank you. And finally, first place award, titled Generosity, written by Gina Lynn of Wakefield Country Day School. And she starts her story like this. It was the summer when COVID restrictions were abolished. Everyone could finally stop wearing a mask and smile brightly. I, however, had a problem at hand. I needed a new place to stay, to live. Since my mom was busy with work and being a single parent, she was not able to take care of me. So I needed to be fostered. With my last family not being able to care for me now, my mother had been searching for a family who can. And Gina continues to write about her experience with a caring, fostering family whose home was joyful and loving. And it also included a little bit of humor. During one evening meal, the youngest family member mistakenly used 80 ounces of pasta instead of the intended 8 ounces, resulting in too much pasta, but lots of amusement for the family. So, Gina, thank you so much. So, with all that applause, thank you for the exceptional talent of these young story writers whose words have left an enduring spot on our hearts as judges. Congratulations to you, and may your stories continue to inspire and captivate. Happy writing.
Next are the 9th and 10th graders, and I will call their names. I know that a couple of the recipients were not able to be here tonight. Mary Reingold, Stella Budwash, Edie Giles, Takahashi, and Sailor Purcell. Scott Willis will be giving the presentations.
I'll be your DJ tonight. I have to say, there's some work involved with the judging, but it's actually a lot of fun. And one of the amazing things for somebody who's been in the storytelling business and done okay is that you come across these stories where you look down and you say, my God, I could have never done that. When I was in the 9th grade or 10th grade, forget it. So you're looking at some formidable talent.
Yes.
Up here. And everybody that submitted a story should be applauded. Even if they're not up here, it's brave to write your thoughts down, to formulate a story, and to get other people to read it. So congratulations. We have two runners up, honorable mentions tonight. Dakota is the title of our second runner-up. It's a love story. I remember the first time that I met Dakota, our still 10th grader, Sailor Purcell writes. It was love at first sight. He was a big, beautiful horse that could jump with grace. For a panel of Rappahannock judges, love stories about horses have huge appeal. But Sailor turns the love story into a tale of human kindness as her riding trainer makes a home for Dakota. Not only was Dakota going to the best home, he was going to a place where I got to see him. Congratulations, Sailor. Another honorable mention, just a note on it, that writing personal stories, giving them over to a panel of judges that you don't know, and you probably never met, don't know anything about it, it's a tough proposition. But doing that when you're an exchange student, and English isn't your first language, that really is an act of courage. Rena Takahashi is a Japanese exchange student at Wakefield, and in my memorable farewell, she writes a message book her Japanese schoolmates surprised her with the day before flying to the US. She writes, "My eyes filled with tears. I realized that I'm in a corner of their hearts. They would miss me as much as I would miss them." Fortunately, Rena is here today to accept this award, and it's wonderful that when she returns to Japan, her friends in Japan, when she returns to Japan in June, she'll go back to her friends in Japan, but she'll also go back with many American friendships. And this certificate and a check to remind the theme of leaving is also in Hearthstone 10th grader Edie Giles' story, How to Build a Fire. Leaving is never easy, Eden writes, especially leaving your whole life behind so suddenly and not knowing when you'll be back. Eden's story goes on to tell about how during a cold winter, one act of kindness, an offer of free wood, and a lesson in how to make a fire made all the difference. Great story. Wakefield 10th grader Stella Blue Bloodwash. Stella. Is it Stella? Okay. Says her story, The Griffins, is purely based on the appreciation she has for her neighbors. She writes, when we weren't related, but they were my family, taking banjo lessons in their basement, and on summer nights hearing the absolute best stories you couldn't think of, even if you tried. There's no forgetting moments like these. They stay with you always. Our jury is happy to award second place to Stella for sharing her story with us. And finally, our first place award, Kindness Trinket. This is a stunningly good, heartfelt poem by a writer of any age, that it comes from Mary Reinhold, a Rappahannock High School 9th grader, is really, really remarkable. Our jury was pretty unanimous that this was the winner. I think it would be a disservice to read you an excerpt. This is writing that really should be taken in its entirety, read, considered, and then reread. Exactly what good poems supposed to do, or demand. I hope everyone in this room takes some time to consider it. And Mary, I hope you keep reading and writing and rewriting, because I have no doubt many more awards will come from your efforts.
Thank you all so much. Scott made a point that came through time and time again, and which is so true. It takes so much courage to share a personal story, and we were so gratified and inspired by the stories, the very personal stories, moving stories that so many of these students offered to us. It really was a privilege and a pleasure to read them, and we look forward to their publication in the special edition of the Rappahannock News soon. So finally, the 11th and 12th grades, Rahimi, excuse me. Taylor Schuler.
such an impressive group of kids. We had 8 selections in this grade category, and we struggled very hard. Everybody's work was so good. So I would like to start with the honorable mentions, of which there are 2. Juliana Butler is a Wakefield senior. With clients at the food pantry, she's a volunteer in Michigan. She works to encourage student contributors at the high school newspaper and the yearbook, and serves on the student government to organize events and offer support to fellow students when they need it. Her story reveals the benefits to oneself of giving to the community, to be, quote, lifting up others and making people feel valued. And I just have to say, that is so wonderful. It not only does make you feel good to do that, but it does so much good. And personally, I hope she runs for president. Our second honorable mention starts the way I love a story to start. It was just a regular day. It's a great way to start a story. Something is bound to happen, and the reader just wants to know what. So Joel Baca, in his story, Not Just Clumsy, writes about a regular visit to the doctor that suddenly explains his everyday so-called clumsiness, his tendency to lose his balance and fall for no good reason. That visit changed his life. And as we know in a story, we need to have a moment where someone is changed completely and understands how they're changed. And this story really touched me so much. His sharp-eyed doctor sent him to a neurologist who diagnosed it as spinal muscular atrophy type 3, an inherited disorder that affects the muscles. Soon he was on his way to treatment and the solution to a mystery. For Joel, the most life-changing kindness can come in the form of someone who just pays attention and cares enough for you to make sure that you get the help you need. Which is so true, and that's all it takes as one person to change a life and to improve it. So congratulations. So I happen to teach creative writing, so I'm like in my element here. And we all know that a story needs a setting. You have to have a setting, and we have to know where things happen. But this story not only has a great setting, which is very familiar to us all, but it starts with a poem, a haiku. It doesn't make sense, but even a small kindness can make a big change. So in Daniel Fletcher's story, this 11th grade Wakefield writer, his setting is familiar to all of us. It's the driving test. Daniel vividly describes what happens under that kind of pressure by means of the metaphors, which of course is the bread and butter of great writing. I've got no real reason, he writes, to be nervous, but the butterflies in my stomach don't know this, and they rise and flutter when the ignition sounds. The nerves still work, which should be in a poem. And the printing press in the back of my head keeps churning out pages of irrational worries. Well, I'm right with it. We all know what that feels like. In a potential crisis moment, every good story has to have one of those. At an intersection, another driver gives him a friendly smile and 2 thumbs up as he makes his turn, shutting off the, quote, printing press of doubt and shoos the butterflies out of my stomach. It's that small moment that Daniel beautifully describes, in hopes that my acts of kindness, he writes, might unfurl as his did and lead another person in the same direction. That's what the good thing about getting these juniors and seniors. You've got the high school veterans, you know, they have all these experiences and thoughts. And they're deep thinkers and emotional, and I just love it. COVID lockdown tested our kindness and generosity like nothing before. Americans were stretched to the limits, caring for each other in a climate of fear and uncertainty, as we well remember. For Taylor Schuler, it meant coming to terms with religion and mortality. Heavy stuff for a 7th grader. She writes, "I crawled so deeply into myself I never wanted to leave." But in conversation with an online friend, Ayat, Taylor, a non-believer, opened up to the possibilities of a higher power. She is now a senior, quote, fascinated by humanity's search for meaning through connection with something greater than us. In a powerful scene, Taylor asks Ayat if she will go to hell. Ayat, a Muslim, answers with gentle kindness. "If you went to hell, I pray for you every day and night because I love you. I know you're a good person. I don't know what God you met, but I can tell you about mine." That moment, quote, "changed my life," Taylor writes. And she concludes, "I don't believe in a God, but I hope it is as beautiful as Ayat made it seem." We were unanimous in agreeing that this story deserved to win second prize for its honesty and eloquence. With generosity, honesty, and kindness comes courage. It takes courage. In Mahdi Rahimi's story of his escape from Afghanistan with his family when he was 12 years old, we get an array of characters who risked all to help him. A couple of neighbors who appeared overnight at the risk of their lives to help them pack and get to safety. Organizations that made relocation possible. And teachers and peers whose empathy and openness welcomed him in a new life here in Rappahannock. Mahdi is in the 11th grade at Wakefield, and his story opens to us a world that we can only imagine. The land of Maulana. Where words are sharper than swords and poetry flows like the rivers of Kabul. With the fall of Kabul in August of 2021, into this world came the Taliban and the end of life as Mahdi ruled. Mahdi says his goal in writing this story is to show young Americans how the world works and what is happening in the world thousands of kilometers away from them. That's the purpose of good storytelling, to open up worlds to us. I want people to know that Afghanistan, especially its women, is in dire need of support, and that we, the ones outside of Afghanistan, are among their main sources of help. The story itself is an act of generosity, honesty, and kindness. It's beautifully written, and we judges thought it deserved first prize.
Yeah, he's a poet, a Persian poet, very poet.
Congratulations.
I wanted to recognize several of the teachers who really made a difference in encouraging and supporting the students in putting together their entries. And we'd like to take one picture with a few of the teachers who may be here, or staff. So if the 7th and 8th grade also would come up, in 9th and 10th grade. In addition to Sarah Nutt, who assigned this after we gave a presentation to her 7th grade classes, and they rose to the occasion and sent us a rich and diverse collection of stories. I'm not sure. All right, and Suzanne, would you please come up? And is Brant Miller here from Hearthstone? Yes, would you please come up? Yeah, we want to take a group picture and have everyone in it here, if possible. Am I forgetting anyone? If there is anyone else that I haven't included? Amy Grady, I don't believe she is here. Still is here. Amy! Oh, hooray! I would never forget you. Amy started it all. She saw the potential of graphic storytelling at Rappahannock in her 7th grade art class. And it was a contagious idea, so we really appreciate their support in the contest. And particularly because getting 7th graders interested in storytelling in whatever form, we hope they'll come back year after year and participate in this contest.